Hey folks, welcome back to another windy day at the farm. Getting tired of the wind, needs to stop. But this isn't the next episode of Wreck It Ruby, but she wrecked it. Tore up my drip line. Apparently she wanted the little T and the elbow that were here in the middle. It's supposed to look just like that one over there. But she wanted it bad. She tore it all apart. Ruby, did you do this? Huh? Hey, did you wreck the drip hose? Now I gotta fix it. So it's really not that big a deal, just a couple little parts and this will be fixed. Especially with this DripWorks stuff that we use. It's super easy, super user friendly, and it's not going to take very long. So what I got to do, I need to rebury this over to the center of our strip over here, and then going to need a coupler on there because she's chewed up the end of it, and we can bury the coupler down in the ground here. Is not going to be a problem. We'll add enough hose to get to the middle. We're probably going to have to come this direction because to eliminate some fittings I won't put a coupler and extend this hose. I'll just bring this one, since I'm lengthening it anyway, over to where it meets this one in an area that's not chewed up, and then I'll extend that one. I'll completely replace that hose over there. So that'll be the easiest thing to do. So let's go get the hose out of the shop and we'll get her done. All right, we got out a couple pieces of short hose we had. You can see we've dug our trench. We've got our coupler right there, putting our new hose on to make it go to where it needs to go. We've determined that this piece with the chewed up end on cut off will reach to here. Ruby, don't even think about it. We'll reach here. So if I had a T, I would put a T on here, but I just realized I'm out of T's, so I'm going to put a cross here, and then we'll just put a short piece of hose that we can kink over, and I'll order up some T's, and then I'll just replace that later. And then I have to add a short piece of hose to go the other side of this tree here, so we can put an emitter in this last tree. I've already got a short piece of hose for that, and we'll have her knocked out. All right, we got a riser put in. We got a cross there that we're going to replace with a T later. We've got just our little stub there with the little kink. Just kinks over, and there's a collar that goes over it. And then we've got our line to our other fruit tree with another stopper on the end and an emitter here by the tree. So the only thing left now is to charge this thing up. Make sure we don't have any leaks that are serious, and then we'll cover all this up. All right, our line is all charged and we are dripping successfully. That's good. Let's check our trench here, make sure we got no water running anywhere. Everything's still nice and dry. So this looks good. No drips out of any of our connections there. Our emitters down the line are emitting. These are the ones that we're going to replace with the new ones that we just put on that first tree. But we'll do that probably this weekend. So let me show you something else that we're going to tackle while we're here doing this. Now we originally set up, if you remember, try to get you guys out of the wind, we set up the garden and the fruit trees to run together. But there's a flaw in that plan, that the garden sometimes needs to be ran more than the fruit trees because they're rooted a lot deeper. So we want to run those at different times sometimes, which we could get by with just the valve we have here on the end. But I want a better, more modular system, so I'll show you what we have in mind. So right now, to run the fruit trees, everything around the chicken coop and the grapevines, we open this valve right here, which is off of the end of our garden system. And of course it's buried all the way across over there, so we can mow over the top and drive over. But to do that, we have to shut off all 6 of these valves in the garden, all the rows. So to alleviate that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here where our riser is, and this riser comes across from our hydrant underground, and I'm going to put a T in here, or actually I'm going to put a cross in here, sorry, and we'll put a cross in here with 2 lines going each direction. One line I'm going to dedicate to the fruit tree line, and I'll just tie it in down there with a coupler, and we'll put that valve that's down there right here just to the left of that cross. And then eventually we're going to run another line out here for our extended asparagus patch. Once we get done, we're going to put a drip line all the way down that asparagus patch. So I'll just cap that off here, right here for now, until we get that taken care of. But today we'll put that cross in, we'll put our new hose so we can dedicate that line and not have to turn these valves every time. So I need to go get some more hose that'll go from here all the way down to that valve down there. All right, we've got our new hose ran from a riser down there. We've just weaved it through our cattle panel fence. We came down here. All we did was unplug this valve from our garden line. We're just going to leave the valve here, it's fine. As long as we have one in line, we're good. So, and then all we did was plug in our new hose to the existing line that was already there. We just put a little termination deal on our garden hose. So now we just got to go down and make the connection down at the riser. All right, we're putting our stack together here. Now once I got down here to the ground, I noticed when we put this line in, we just came swooping up out of the ground with that hose, and it's causing a tight situation here where we've got a kind of a kink, which is restricting our water flow. So what I should have done before, we should have put an elbow here like that. So I'm going to take my trusty little garden trowel here, we're going to dig down a little bit, and I'm actually going to put an elbow down there to where we don't have that kink, and we can come straight up out of that elbow, and then we can finish tying this together. We have already got our hose here that we just got to connect to this port here. I have to put a short piece of hose in here with a terminator kink, and then just plug this one in and we're good to go. So we got our elbow put down there in the hole. We didn't want to get too deep because then we'll have another kink down here. So we left it just underground there. We came up with our cross, got our lines connected, got our valve there turned in the off position so the garden is not on. We have our little stub here for future use for our asparagus patch, and I've gone through and I turned all of the garden valves back on because now I don't have to shut those off. You can see we've already watered the garden. You can see how wide that drip hose irrigates. It's literally like 3 feet right here, 3 feet wide. There's an emitter every 12 inches. So if you're worried about those emitters being too far apart, you don't have to worry about that. It water's nice and wide. And our onions that we planted got a real good drink over there because this wind has really been drying things out. So let's charge this up and make sure we don't have any leaks. All right, we are running. We've got no leaks here at all of our riser connections. Let's take a walk down here to the end. We've got no leaks at our valve. We've already checked all of our new connections over there. We are dripping here at this tree, so we've got water pressure in the line. Everything's looking good. So we're going to go ahead and water these fruit trees. They need a drink. We hand watered them the other day, but with all this wind again, it's drying out. So we've also got some fruit trees to replace down there. I've already got one in the ground. We got a Bartlett pear. It wasn't budded out very far, so we went ahead and put that in the ground. But I also have an apple and a peach, and we have a cold snap coming this weekend, which appears to be the last one for a while, so I got those trees in the garage. We're not going to plant those until Sunday. It's Wednesday today. We had some unseasonably warm weather last week. We even got into the 90s. So all of our fruit trees think it's time to wake up. This one here is just exploding with blossoms or buds. And we're supposed to get freezing weather for 2 days here in a couple days. So I'm hoping our fruit trees aren't going to be hurt by that. It's not going to kill them or anything, but it will affect the little buds pushing out and the leaves and all that. It'll burn them pretty good. Give you an update on our seeds in the greenhouse. We got some tomatoes sprouting over here. Got cucumbers all the way up. We got some watermelons coming up. Got broccoli. We have Brussels sprouts. A couple little cauliflowers sprouted. All of our cabbage is doing really well. No celery as of yet, but we have a couple of zucchini coming up, and I can see a couple more pushing. And then all our collards are doing fantastic. The only thing up in our herbs over here is we got some basil just starting, but the dill is doing fantastic over here. You can see some of our onions are starting to push up through the ground. Starting to look real good. Hopefully you get a good stand of onions out here. In the past, I've always planted the plants, like the green onion looking things. But for some reason here in Nebraska, they don't look very well when they sell them. They almost look dried up. So we didn't get real success with those. So that's why I'm going to try these onion bulbs. See how they do. So I'm going to get all my connections and holes buried up. Hopefully Ruby won't decide she wants that for a Chewy toy again. And then I'm going to show you a little bit about the parts and how they work. And it's pretty interesting stuff. All right, you can see some of the products that you can get from DripWorks. There's many, many more. You saw the crosses that we used out there. They have tees. They have just about everything you need. This is your mainline hose here. And then this is your drip hose. It's got the emitters built right into the hose. And they have different varieties of the hoses as well. I'll show you how easy this stuff goes together. So like here's a coupler. So you take your hose and you shove it right on there, making sure your hose goes past that little wide spot. And then say we're going to connect our drip hose to that. So you'd put your drip hose in this other side, like that. Now the good thing about these couplers is you see they spin out, so they're locking the hose on the back side of that little hump there. And then the good thing is these spin opposite, so when you're tightening them, you're not trying to go the same way. You can really wrench on it with both hands. Now that's fully connected like that. So really easy. It comes back apart also. So I'll pull this apart for you to show you that you can take it apart. You just wiggle it back and forth, it comes right back apart. I challenge you to try to do that with those compression push-in couplers that you buy at all the rest of the stores. This works so much better. You can just shove it right on there and then tighten that baby right up. And you're locked in. That's not going to come apart. Now, say you want to terminate an end. They make a coupler you can put right on the end that's got like a hose connection. Like this is a hose connection here for your garden hose. And also one with a cap so you could extend it or take a garden hose off the end if you want. Here's an elbow, which is hose or drip hose to garden hose. You could put this on your faucet and then take your drip line right off of that. They have straight ones, any kind that you need. Here's a little terminator deal. So you would shove this on your hose, make sure it's round, and then you just kink over the end of your hose like that, and then put that right on the end, and that shuts your hose off there. Now if you already have drip hose, the DripWorks parts will work on your drip hose most likely. Here is a inline valve. So anywhere in your system you can throw a valve in. It's a quarter turn valve. Crossway shuts it off. That turns it on. You also have these valves that you can take off of the main line, like this tubing here. You can punch that right into there, and I'll show you how to do it. So you got your main line hose. Just get you one of these little punches. They make all different kinds. This is just a nice little one you can carry in your pocket. So you just punch a hole in your tubing like that, and then this valve will punch right into this hole, just like that. Now you can take a drip line right off of that main line, and you have a valve to shut it off. It's pretty cool, and that'll run that whole drip line like that. But you have, these are the no clog emitters that we just purchased for the fruit trees. We were using these, but the problems I was having with these, this one's actually busted. Let me find you another one. The problems I was having with these is they would plug up, which what's nice about these, you can take these apart and clean them out and they work just fine. And they don't plug up that often. But with the fruit trees, we have those cages, and these are way down in those cages where I can't reach. So it's inconvenient to go down there and unplug those. So that's why they turned me on to this one. We're hoping we're going to have some success with this one here. Now this looks like an inline emitter, but it's not. It just drips out of one end. So this here is an inline emitter. You can't leave one end open. It's got to be closed. So if you've had, say, a main line going through your garden, you don't have to put this main line next to all your plants. You can get a spaghetti line, which is a little 1/4 inch line that pokes right into the end of. I don't have an example of your 1/4 inch tubing, but from here you can continue on 1/4 inch tubing, go into all your different plants, and then back into the main line so it's not open. Or the other option is you could plug this into your main line here, and a 1/4 inch tubing fits right on here. You can run the 1/4 inch tubing to a single plant, and this will just drip. This doesn't blow out like the inline one does. But pretty cool stuff. Get a hold of them. They'll send you a catalog. Catalog is full of all kinds of neat stuff, not just drip stuff. They got a lot of different gardening stuff that you can use. Now I keep all my drip stuff here in this container. I used another one today because I didn't need all of these parts. And I keep a couple rows of the different type of hose, so I can make repairs, or I can do new installation if I want drip line somewhere else. I keep a roll of the drip hose and a roll of the main hose, and plus all the parts that I need. I just got to order some new tees, so I'll be doing that when I go in the house. Well, I hope you learned something about drip systems. They're really easy to install and maintain. DripWorks does not sponsor this channel, so don't think I'm giving them a good endorsement just because they're giving me free stuff, because I buy everything I need from them. Nothing's provided for free, so I'm not obligated to give a good review. I just really love their products, and if you've ever dealt with drip stuff and you start using this stuff, you will know the difference, believe me. So, gave you a little garden update too. Hope you enjoyed that. But Kelly's going to be home in a little bit, so we're going to go in and start thinking about dinner. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here on Markelly Farm. We've got so much going on here in the spring. It's crazy. See ya.